Hi, I'm Kermit the Alien and you're watching Resto Roomba. In this video, I'm gonna be handling an old yellowed Roomba 531, which is gonna be cleaning and living in a candy shop, so of course it will be getting a candy theme. It's in working condition but doesn't look the best. The only part that doesn't work in the robot is the side brush, which I found out to be bad at the end of the restoration. Also, it has almost stuck brushes, but that's a very common problem and an easy fix. First, to deep clean the Roomba, I have to take the whole unit apart, and to do that I remove the bottom cover, take out the battery, front caster, side brush module, cleaning head and wheel modules. Then I can move on to taking the smaller electronic parts out as well as the body shells. I remove the bumper and faceplate, which allows me to access more screws. By removing all of them, I'm able to access the main board and its components. I noticed the user interface panel looks different on this particular model. It's one of the later 531s being made in 2010. The difference is the outer ring and the button housing being one piece. This will make the repaint a bit harder, but I did manage to do it with no problem. I remove the button from the UIP and the handle from the casing. I unscrew the motherboard and take each connector out, remove all the sensors, speaker and the charging port, contacts as well as cliff sensors, which need to be pushed out with a screwdriver. They can be hard to remove, but it is doable. When I'm left with only bits and pieces, I start cleaning all the plastic parts, because I can clean them with soap and water, which wouldn't go well with electronic components. Here is the before and the after. I'm going to be foil wrapping the robot, but that does not apply to the user interface panel, so I have to retro bright it, basically make it white again. The foil I chose for this robot is white, but it does have a slight holographic finish. It's kind of the whole pastel rainbow at the same time. Perfect for a bright candy theme. The procedure is the same as with the Sunset Roomba. Stick the foil, heat it up, and you're done. To clean all the electronics, I use isopropyl alcohol that removes the rust and debris. When I'm done cleaning everything, I reassemble the robot. The modules still need a good clean, so let's start with the dustbin. It's pretty simple to disassemble, just a few screws on the bottom and a few holding in the motor. After the deep clean, I once again used foil to wrap the plastic parts, but for the button I also used a different type of foil. This one is clear but reflects different beautiful colors. With the dustbin done, I moved on to repainting the faceplate and user interface panel. I sanded the faceplate to make it smooth as it was scratched, as well as preparing the surface for painting. I cleaned it off and started priming using a few coats of white primer. I let it dry completely and added a few coats of white paint. I wanted to create vertical pink stripes, so I used painter's tape to mask out the surface that needs to stay white. Whilst the paint was still wet, I removed the tape to prevent the pink from chipping. There were some imperfections, so I painted over them manually and finished it off with a fine coating of metallic white. When the paint dried, I sealed everything using UV Cat Flat Mr. Super Clear. This will protect my paint from chipping and scratching off during the next step. I wanted to create the effect of dripping blue icing, and to achieve that, I covered the whole thing with painter's tape and then duct tape for strength, sketched out my design and cut it out. I mixed out a specific blue to match my vision, and just like the stripes, airbrushed the pattern and removed the tape. To give the faceplate a cartoony design and make the icing part stand out more, I mixed a darker blue and painted some shading/outlines. Using a watercolor pencil, I sketched out little stars. These will act as sprinkles. I used a paint palette to mix some pastel metallics and got to work, painting the sprinkles one by one. I mixed some darker paints, this time to paint on outlines yet again, and finished the shading using white paint. I finished the paint job by sealing everything with Mr. Super Clear again, but painted the stars with a glossy sealant to add some dynamics. The user interface panel has gotten white again, so it's time to paint it. Don't mind the side brush, I put it there in hopes that it would stop the ring from floating, but it didn't. I smoothed out the scratches and removed the stains by gently sanding the surface, but avoiding the printing. And to protect the white ring from getting painted, I sealed it with clear tape. I once again primed the surface using white primer. I wanted the outer ring to resemble a rainbow, so I once again mixed pastel metallics and painted the ring section by section, drying the paint as I go along with a heat gun. Next, I painted the rainbow with different color shifting paints. To make the colors look deeper, I used candy, how fitting, paints, covered them again with color shifting paints, removed the tape, and finished it off with iridescent confetti glitter. To seal this piece, I used a couple coats of resin-based clear spray. I also covered the white part with the color shifting foil, just to make things even more interesting. And now for a piece I never painted before, the buttons. They originally were silver, and they wouldn't match anymore with all the silver being painted in rainbow pastels. So what did I do? I painted them with rainbow pastels. The spot button got pink and red, clean got yellow and green, and the dog got blue and purple. I used a toothpick to scratch off the paint where the words were. Side note, next time I'm definitely using latex, I forgot about it. And once again used confetti glitter, this time in different shapes and sizes. 5 coats of resin spray later, the buttons were done. With this part I wanted it to be extra safe as it will be constantly touched. As all of the painted parts were curing, I started cleaning the rest of the modules. Cleaning head first along with the brushes. Of course, the gearbox was once again full of dirt, so I removed every gear, cleaned it one by one, cleaned the rest of it, replaced the motor and the piezoelectric dirt sensor, put the gears back in, and re-greased them. A deep clean and re-greasing always helps loud working Roombas become silent again. The wheels had no problem, so it was just the sake of taking them apart, cleaning them and putting them back together. With everything cleaned, I put the robot back together, not realizing that the side brush module is broken yet. I test ran it and noticed the faulty side brush. Removed the module and found out the gears were in fact broken. This probably occurred because the previous owner was not cleaning it, hair built up and prevented the side brush from spinning, and the pressure from the motor broke the gears. Thankfully, I had a spare working module which had the gears in perfect condition, so I just swapped the gears and tops because the previous one was badly damaged. The last part I needed to finish was the dock, and I did something more crazy than with any dock so far. First of all, I made it white, which looks very cursed because no compact dock was originally made white. I made some accents with the clear shiny foil again, but still the duck didn't match the sweet craziness of the Roomba, so I got back to resin and made these little pores. Some using my molds and some using my sister's molds. I even painted some or added some fake sprinkles to them. I attached each resin cabochon to the duck, making sure not to stick anywhere the Roomba touches it. I also made a special green candy piece with an on symbol to cover the blinking LED. So now, instead of an LED in a hole, there is a blinking green candy piece. There was still one problem. The charger wasn't working properly, and I found out the power brick was broken. Because I didn't have much time left, I included a new one, this one in white since the black did not fit the theme anyway, but left the old one to myself so I can actually work on it off camera and hopefully get it working. To get the Roomba ready for its new home, I added a sticker with a date and its name, Sprinkle. I added one to the home base too. Now every Roomba/electronic device that I sell will have them as an affirmation that it was restored by Resto Roomba. And here is the finished product. I hope you enjoyed this restoration video, as more in fact are in the works right now. If you liked it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Kermit the Alien signing out, peace.